What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. There is only going to be one topic of discussion tonight, and that is our manager. Because I've got to be honest with you, I'm sick of his pathetic excuses. I know that sounds really harsh, and I want to caveat everything I'm about to say by saying I'm fully behind Jurgen Klopp. I fully back Jurgen Klopp to succeed at the football club again, and I don't want to see him frustrated and lashing out like he is doing. I want to know your thoughts though. I'm going to give you mine. I want to know yours in the comment section. Do drop a like on the video and please do hit that subscribe button. This brings me no pleasure whatsoever. I very rarely disagree with Jurgen Klopp, but there are times where I feel like he treats us as fans, the media and the rest of the world like we're idiots, and we aren't. You cannot, Jurgen, in one breath say that you made a mistake by not bringing in a midfielder in the summer. Then see what you have seen this season, which is a midfield that quite simply isn't up to the job, is too old, is picking up injuries, whatever way you want to look at it, it isn't good enough. Then we come to the winter window where we've been briefed by journalists up and down the country, everywhere around the world, that Jurgen Klopp's looking at Amrabat, Jurgen Klopp's looking at Caicedo or whomever. And we're all thinking, okay, they've had 4.5 months, 5 months to put this right. They'll know that it's not good enough on the pitch as much as we do as fans. But then we get nothing. And here's the real kicker. He spoke to that journalist today like he asked a question that was in any way unfair. It's a very, very simple point. If we only have a set amount of money, why are we spending it on a forward when we have a forward problem in the short term? 4 to 6 weeks, because Diaz, Jota will all work their way back. Where we have an ongoing problem and where we really, really, really need to fix it is in the midfield. So you can't in one breath moan about money and then in the next breath talk about signing Cody Gakpo. We didn't need Cody Gakpo. He's brilliant. I'm delighted he's here, but it should not have been at the expense of the real problem area, which is in midfield. Go back to the summer. I made a mistake, said Jurgen Klopp. You were all right and I was wrong. No problem. We all make mistakes, but not learning from them or not speaking out about a lack of funds, that's unforgivable. Sometimes, and I hate saying this, sometimes I wish Jurgen Klopp had a touch of the Antonio Contes about him. I wish he'd call out the board a little bit, because we see a broken man. We see a manager who was suffering, who was in turmoil, and who seems very frustrated. And it kills us inside because we love Jurgen. We love him so much. But I feel like he's taken this out on the wrong people. I feel like his frustrations are aimed at the wrong people. And I feel like he's been forced into saying things that I don't even think he believes. There's no way that he can look at that midfield and think it's good enough. So why did we sign a forward when we need a midfielder? Why did we have 5 months to put right a problem that they admitted was wrong and it not be solved? The only summarization is one of two things, in my humble opinion. Either Jurgen Klopp has lost the plot altogether and doesn't know what he's on about, or John W. Henry and FSG are not delivering to their manager. You and I will never know what discussions have taken place behind the scenes between Jurgen and FSG, but he has always maintained that there's been a good relationship and it's respectful between himself and the owners. Right now, Jurgen, those owners are throwing you under a bus. They aren't showing you the same respect and the same decency that you're showing them. So I call on Jurgen Klopp. If the problem is John W. Henry, if the problem is FSG, speak out. I promise you, you will have the backing of every single Liverpool fan, because we know that you know we need a midfielder. We know that you know that our midfield isn't good enough. You can't keep talking about how can I improve this or how. It's very easy. Thiago's the only midfielder in that team right now that is doing anything. Fabinho is a pale imitation of his former self. Jordan Henderson is getting on in age. The mind is willing, but the body is unable to do some of the things that Hendo was so good at. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is done at the top level. Our young midfielders are being shoehorned in. Elliott's not a midfielder. He shouldn't be playing in midfield. And we're making our younger players get criticised because we haven't got the personnel. And this isn't an overnight issue. This isn't something that nobody could have seen coming. We've signed one midfield player in 4.5 years. One. And yet with the toll that these guys put their bodies through with the training, with the games, with the relentless press that's involved in how we set up, it's only logical that burnout will happen. It's only logical that injuries would happen. So either one of two things is true. Either Jurgen Klopp really does believe the nonsense that he's come out with recently, or he's protecting the owners. I want to know what you guys think, because right now, I watched that interview today and I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed for Jurgen. I was embarrassed for the poor journalist who was at the end of it. And let's be honest, it was a fair question. And I don't feel he even had a chance to follow it up before Klopp went on his nonsensical rant. And that's what it was, a nonsensical rant. Klopp's frustrated right now. We are all frustrated right now as Liverpool Football Club fans. But the amount of times we get sold the same pup is ridiculous. We did need a defender. We couldn't solve the defender crisis in the market. Then last day, scrambling around, what do we come up with? Ozan Kabak and Davies. Come on. So we didn't learn from that. And now we haven't solved what he's already admitted is a problem. And we're supposed to believe it's because of money when we've just spent money on Cody Gakpo. Why do we spend the money on Cody Gakpo if there wasn't a pile of money there for a midfielder? Don't tell us midfielders aren't available, because that quite simply isn't true. There are many, many midfielders available. And I don't know about you guys, and I'm wondering if Jurgen Klopp believes this, but all this talk of a big chunk of money being available for the summer is just that. It is the same PR nonsense that FSG put out every single window. So the story that's been doing the rounds over the past 24, 48 hours is that there's these Gulf owners waiting to just come in and buy the club, and that it should all be done by May. Maybe in the next 2 weeks. What does that do? Well, that means the transfer window is going to be at an end, and that means FSG have navigated their way through once again and bought themselves time. Time to put up, John. Time to put up or sell up, because you are hanging a manager out to dry. You are destroying the legacy of Jurgen Klopp by not backing him. Spend the money. Stop being a cheapskate. Give Jurgen Klopp the tools that he needs to go out there and do the job. Because it is a sad sight that we're having to look at with Jurgen Klopp out there, clearly frustrated, clearly suffering inside, and taking it out on journalists. It is not benefiting anybody. It is not doing any good to the cause. It is not doing any good to Jurgen's legacy. And it all stems from the cheapness of FSG and John W. Henry. And you know what? At this point, I don't care. I don't care about the FSG apologists or the happy clappers or the top reds or anybody else. Because ultimately, we are seeing a man unravel in front of our eyes through sheer frustration because of other people's incompetence. And that's how I see it. So yes, this has been a lot aimed at Klopp. But I want to reiterate, I love Jurgen Klopp. He is the right man to lead this football club. He just needs the goddamn tools to be able to do it. So if you are going to vent, if you are going to show your frustration, make sure it's aimed in the right direction. Boston, because that's where they are. Not at Anfield, not in and around trying to solve this. They're over in Boston while Jurgen is wheeled out week after week, press conference after press conference, to answer questions and clean up the mess that's been put in place by John W. Henry. So it's time to put up or sell up, John.